Cool. Yeah, well, welcome back to Island Time podcast number 4. And we've got a special guest on tonight. We got Hafeez Dossa.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah, welcome, man.
Looking forward to
have you.
Heck yeah. Yeah, Hafeez, give us the lowdown. What do you do? Where are you from? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Burnaby, BC on the mainland. Born and raised there. And then, I went to school at SFU, did a kinesiology degree. Started out there, 4 years kinesiology. I was always into sports, kind of, knew I was into that stuff, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my career from there. So then I kind of, explored different options. When you do kin degree, people are into physio, people are into chiro, like all the hands-on type of stuff.
Totally.
Pharmacy is not something a lot of people in kin kind of look at as a career option. You probably wouldn't think.
No, I didn't even realize you did kin.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good that I'm on here to tell you boys that. But yeah, so I did the kin degree. Do you know people in kin? I mean, most people.
I know a lot of people in kin, but it's like they're either doing like they're going into like being a kinesiologist or they're going into massage therapy or physiotherapy. Yeah. But I've never heard of someone going to pharmacy.
Going to drugs.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because when you do kin, you learn a little bit about medications.
Yeah.
Like physiology and stuff like that. And I think that's where the intrigue was mostly for me, is about what medications, like the impact medications can have. If you play sports, like for me personally, I have asthma.
Yeah.
So just seeing the impact that an inhaler can have.
Yeah.
When I was young,
I
remember telling my mom, like, this is really cool. And so ever since then, I always thought of pharmacy as a career, but I never really knew what types of options you would have when you got into actual pharmacy. But I knew that I liked what I was learning.
Yeah.
Even in my kin degree. So then I started applying for pharmacy school. And then from there, it just worked out that I got into pharm. And then so I did the kin degree, which was 4 years. And then I did pharmacy, which was another 4 years.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
So that's 8 years straight of school. And
what school was it for pharmacy school?
Pharmacy was UBC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were at SFU for undergrad?
SFU for undergrad, yeah.
Okay, cool. And SFU doesn't offer pharmacy?
Pharmacy? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough. So you like bridge in.
Yeah. Well, it was good to kind of get a different experience at a different school.
Totally.
Because, I mean, I don't know if people spend 8 years at one institution. I think that would be... I mean, I was in school for 8 years. It sounds like a long time, but 8 years at the same place would be...
Yeah, a lot.
That would be long.
Yeah. Especially when you see your friends graduate and then you're like...
You're still there.
You're still there.
Yeah.
And did you ever have a doubt in your mind, like when you were in pharmacy school? Were you ever just like, man, maybe this isn't for me?
I think when you are still kind of navigating what you want to do for your career, we're all trying to find passion, right? And I think certain parts of school or certain parts of your rotations, you might not get that sense of passion, but you just got to stick with it. And so I think ultimately what ended up happening for me in my career is something I'm passionate about, but there's certain points where it wasn't always like that. Yeah. I think that's an important message. It's like when you're, I did kin, so I'm into sports. Yeah. You guys are into sports. Yeah. And sometimes you have days where you're working out and you don't necessarily enjoy the workout. You don't look forward to that workout, but ultimately it's getting you to where you want to get to.
Yeah, totally.
And that's an important message, I think, just about career or life in general, I guess. But
okay, might be controversial, but what school's better, UBC or SFU?
That's a good question. I think I've been asked this question, so I don't want to just choose. But when I was in UBC, I was in pharmacy, which was the same 200 kids. Yeah. When I was at UBC or SFU, I was taking classes with a bunch of different people. Yeah. So I think the sense of community is different because of that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And my experience was different completely at both schools. Like one, I was right out of high school. Yeah. And the other one, I was in a more professional program.
Right. In a way, that's sick, though. It's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Like, two totally different experiences, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you more in your first, 4 years? Obviously, you were younger, so it was probably more your, fun, enjoyment type school, or how was it?
I was living at home.
Okay.
The whole time I was at SFU.
Right.
So a little bit different. I think I was more, focused on school than that typical, first few years of university experience that a lot of people get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a friend that went to UBC, so I'd always go over there on weekends and try to kind of get that life. But I didn't get that same experience that a lot of people do the first few years of university.
Yeah.
So
Didn't you? I think you told me one time you were doing a lot of reffing during your SFU days. Is that right?
Both. SFU and UBC, like those 8 years, I was on the ice a lot. Like I spent a lot of time working and reffing, and
it's so smart, man, because it's what you love to do anyway.
Yeah.
Good workout, and you make some money while you're in school.
Definitely. What's the craziest thing you've seen like on the ice or like
reffing?
Have you ever had like someone just come up to you and just light you up and just like tear into you, or is it like more chill men's league?
I've been reffing since I was 12.
Oh shit.
Okay. A lot of guys don't ref that young.
Yeah.
So I've been with it for a while.
Right.
So I've definitely seen some things. I think beer league hockey, which is what I was reffing when I was in university, is one thing. But I think the most difficult situations are in minor hockey with the parents.
Oh yeah.
Because I think now that I have friends having kids, there's a different type of emotion that you never think you would ever have when you have a child.
Yeah.
And when that child is playing hockey with a bunch of other parents who also see that and feel that, I think parents and coaches, which are also parents of kids, those are the types of situations that are worth telling stories about, more so than the beer league. I know beer league, people get heated because of whatever reason, but when parents have their children playing hockey, it's,
totally.
Yeah. And think about it. I'm 12.
Yeah.
Some parent on the other side is literally roasting you.
Yeah.
You're a 12-year-old kid.
And I'm a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Just
Crazy.
wearing mittens at like 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning, just getting your $12.
Yeah.
I remember I used to ref basketball.
Yeah.
And so, I started with like scorekeeping. So I would scorekeep all the younger people and all the games. And then I was like, I want to ref, because it was like on the Sunshine Coast, there's not many refs. Like it's just basically coaches or just like people who know basketball.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the time when you had like the grade 8s and 9s and even the 10s, there wasn't like a lot of interest for the adults to be doing it. So a lot of like, I was one of the main refs at the school for like the younger kids.
Yeah.
And man, like you'd make a call and the coach would be yelling at you. And then I just like look at them and I just like literally shake my head and be like, man, like you see how old I am. You see like what's going on.
Yeah.
And like they would see my face and they just like shake it off. They'd be like, no, this guy, I'm not even going to argue. Like there's no point.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that much. Clearly this game isn't being reffed by a professional. So
yeah, I mean, we laugh about the stories now, but it is unfortunate that a lot of kids aren't taking up reffing now.
Yeah.
Because of that. Like there's a shortage
100%
of refs.
Well, people can't handle conflict nowadays.
Yeah. Well, that's another conversation altogether, but I think it's just kids not choosing to do that because of this reputation. And I experienced it, but I mean, I took it in stride and you took it in stride, right?
Yeah.
You're right. It's a different generation. People don't even want to consider that.
Yeah.
You need to have some conflict. It's unfortunate that it happens.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like reffing is a good outlet for a number of life skills, like leadership, taking like accountability, whole sorts of different things, right?
Yeah.
And anything in life, it's not like streamlined. You're always going to have those bumps in the road, and they make you stronger and better at your job. So,
well, you have to expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
And that's what reffing teaches you.
Yeah.
For sure. Right? So,
yeah, there was I was reffing we do like a basketball tournament every year. And so when I was in grade 12, you're expected to ref some of the games. It's like an alumni tournament. So everybody comes back from the previous years and they make their own teams. And so as the grade 12, there's a grade 12 team and a grade 11 team. But you have to ref a certain amount of games. Oh. So I remember we were reffing like the older guys, like some of the guys who were like in their, 40s. Yeah. And they're like, they're coming back. And I remember these two teams who were like by far the best teams in the tournament, but also like I was in grade 8 when this other team was in grade 12. And then the other team had just like some of the old heads on it. So it was like this, like there's this tension that you knew is there. Yeah. Everyone knew each other really well. But when it came to basketball, like people are just so competitive. Like it's ridiculous. And I remember one guy, he got like hit down and was like a big, like he fell hard. And then he's like on the ground. And in the heat of the moment, the guy on the other team gets up in his face and he's like, "That's right." And he's like pointing in his face, like crouched down, just like, "What's up?" And then like me and my buddy Ben, we're both in grade 12. We're like, "What the fuck do we do?" Like these guys are mad. We're like, so Ben like goes over there like pretending to be all mad, and he's like, "If you do that again, you're getting a technical foul." Like, we never ended up giving a technical foul. I think like we stopped the game and like one of the like coaches from the years before was just like talked about teams is like, stop this. Like this is, you realize that you're playing an alumni tournament right now for nothing.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It was funny. Like, and you know what, as a competitor, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're playing for.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like at the beginning of the intramurals, like the employees, they said like, remember every time that you're about to like get into an altercation that you're playing for a beer mug and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, yes, absolutely, you're right. But competitive, I don't care about the beer and the t-shirt. What I care about is the win.
Yeah.
I want to win, and I hate losing.
Yeah.
So 100%, you get in the heat of the moment, and it's like, yeah, shit happens.
No, that's crazy. Hafeez, you mentioned one thing before. You were saying as a kid you had asthma.
Yeah.
So like, how much advantage does the puffer like give you, or like is it a negative disadvantage? Like, what is that? What is that like?
I think it depends on like the severity.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, it was pretty bad.
Okay.
Like there's different types of inhalers.
Okay.
Right? So the inhaler that most people think of that they take before exercise, that's one of them.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I would need like a nebulizer. It was, but I grew out of that.
Okay.
So now, I don't usually need to take it. In terms of an advantage, I haven't thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it kind of gets your heart rate going. It opens up your airways for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But the way that I'd like to see it is that would just put me where kind of a normal person usually would be.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work, right? So the way it works is, does it allow your lungs to absorb more oxygen? Is that how that works?
No. So the way that it's easiest to describe it is asthma is a disease where it restricts your airways.
Yep.
So they can't expand like an airway that doesn't have that irritation does.
Yep.
And so what the inhaler is doing is it's expanding your airways.
I see.
It's just opening them up.
Yep.
Without that restriction that would happen from
I see.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, so there isn't really a competitive advantage. You couldn't like overuse one and your airways are more.
Well,
or is it kind of like a gray area kind of thing?
I wouldn't say it's a gray area. Like from my experience, like sometimes I'll take an inhaler before a big hockey game or something like that. But really just your heart races and you got to get more anxious.
Yeah.
It's not really the right approach unless you actually need to use it. Then you should use it. Like there's some people who take it before exercise because during exercise their airways kind of restrict.
I feel like they're gonna pass out.
I'll give you a good example. Imagine if you have a sore leg or arm or some sort of muscle and you're going to a sports game and you take an Advil and you get rid of that. Yeah. It's the same thing. I had 2 puffers as well growing up because I had mild asthma, but I also had allergies to cats. Yeah. And I had this one like bad incident where my throat was literally closing up. So I got puffers. I had to use them a few times for when I was around cats, but like the mild asthma was whatever. But it doesn't give you an advantage. It just makes it so you can be normal. Like if you were a healthy person using a puffer, it wouldn't do anything for you. I don't think.
It would probably cause you more harm, to be honest. Yeah, because your heart would be racing, you get anxious, you can get palpitations. Like it's not something. I mean, if you're gonna take a drug before exercise, I would.
Caffeine's the way to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't take an inhaler.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I know my brother, he had asthma growing up, but he kind of grew out of it. It seems like it's a common thing. Like as you get older, I don't know why, but it just seems to be less of an issue. At least for
I think
it
also depends on how severe it was when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Like I still say I have asthma, but it's
Yo, is this a myth? Maybe you don't know this answer, but is it true that people grow to their allergies every 7 years?
It's the first time I'm hearing of that.
Really? Okay. I've heard this like from multiple people that like after 7 years or like around then, you usually grow out of your allergies.
I would love that, but that's not true.
Okay.
I've had my allergies for years.
I don't know how. I don't know how that would make sense. Most allergies are pollen. That's the most common one, right?
Pollen, yeah. I thought, dude, I thought I got it. I was like, so I've had terrible allergies my whole life. Like I've had pollen allergy is like the biggest one, and so I would be in like the elementary school class, like literally the majority of the day just like running my eyes underwater because I didn't have like eye drops. I just didn't even think about it. And so I just had a miserable time with allergies. And so but I'd usually get them late. I get them like people would start getting them in like, I don't know, March, April type time, but I would start getting them in like June.
Oh, okay.
And so, but there was like last year, I think it was, I hadn't gotten my allergies in June, and I was like, holy fuck, I was like,
it's been 7 years.
I was like, 7 years. I'm fucking free.
Yeah.
Turns out, no, like July kicks around and boom.
Yeah.
Just like back to square one, just miserable.
Yeah.
Like,
I get mine earlier. February last year was the worst. Oh, it was brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they suck.
That's crazy. So Hafeez, back to like SFU, then UBC, then you graduated. How did you choose the island? Like, how did you come to that?
So when I graduated, I was in school for a long time.
Yeah.
8 years. So I took some time. I traveled for a bit.
Yeah.
Did Australia, New Zealand. Just kind of took that gap. Like, I think it's just important to take a little pause.
Totally.
Everyone has their own journey.
Yeah, me and Sean talked about gap years and like how that can be important for someone to progress. So
I mean, I don't think the concept of a gap year is something that needs to happen for everybody. I think everyone has their own path, right? If I graduated and an opportunity presented itself in my career, you go for it.
Yeah,
like, I think if there's an opportunity that presents itself, you have to be opportunistic.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Right. So I had an opportunity to take a bit of a break, so I did that.
Yep.
And so I traveled for a bit, and then when I came back, I took a lot of time to kind of think about what I wanted to do with my career. Because what I told you guys about in the SFU days was I learned about a lot of things that I enjoyed. And then I took that to pharmacy school. And there was a lot of things that we learn that we can have an impact on people's lives when it comes to medication use. But there's different areas of work in pharmacy where you may not necessarily get that opportunity as much. I'd like to think that every pharmacist can make an impact in a patient's life. They can. Yeah. But some settings more so than others, you can have the ability to do that. So anyways, so I took a few months to really try to find an opportunity that allowed me to do that. And so I moved here for work because the opportunity that was here was really good. And then from there, I think the lifestyle and the community and everything like that kind of worked out for me. Yeah. I've been here 5 years in April.
Yeah. Crazy.
So that's from a city kid to come to a smaller town and, be here for as long as I have, it's been a great experience. And I think it's taught me a lot of just,
Yeah. And now you're on a podcast called Island Time.
There you
go. Heck yeah, full circle,
home, man.
Yeah.
How did you get in contact with? Like, did you just know Omar was here? Because I know you guys started living together right away. So how did that happen?
Yeah, we grew up together, and so we're the same. We have the same religious background, so everyone just kind of keeps in touch. We know what everyone's up to.
Yeah.
So I knew he was in Nanaimo. So when I came here to kind of scout the job, I just reached out, said, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And things kind of fell into place from there.
Nice.
And I still remember the first day I came, I saw one of his friends on the couch, and Dustin was there. And then I went to some of the care homes and met some of the people there, and it all just, like I said, opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. When there's an opportunity, you take it, and then you do the best that you can with that. And so that's what this was for me. And it's crazy to think it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
But lots has happened in the 5 years, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
What year did you get here?
2018.
2018. So that's the same year I got here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Small town
like
to
same.
But you came from a smaller.
I came from a small town. Yeah. So
smaller than this.
A lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like April. I guess I would have came in September, so I was just a few months behind you.
Okay.
I remember the first time I met you though.
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, vividly.
Yeah. And I remember being like having a conversation with you about. I think it was just the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
And I think it was the beginning of COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like that was the first conversation we had, and then I remember Omar saying like, "Oh, like Hafeez thought you were dope," and I was like, "Wait, like, but Hafeez is like a pharmacist, and he's like older than me, and he's like these like super cool guy has his shit together. Like, how does he think I'm cool?"
Well, I'm here on your podcast, so
yeah,
I feel like during that conversation, we probably said it'd be sick if this conversation was recorded on a podcast.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's something we would probably
How many times have we said that to each other, though? Probably a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that it all came to this now.
Yeah.
Hopefully first of a few appearances. So
totally. Yeah, because I moved here in, I think it was Jan 2019.
Okay, so but you were still on the island, though.
I was on the island, yeah. Island boy. But I was from an even smaller town than Sean, I think.
Yeah.
I think Cobble Hill is tiny. So
is it? Because it's still on mainland island. Like,
yeah.
Sunshine Coast is...
That's true.
Sunshine Coast is mainland, yeah.
Wait, what is the population?
The whole Sunshine Coast? I'm not 100% sure. Oh yeah, we don't want that to happen again. Yeah. Wouldn't that suck?
Clutched it out. Baby.
Good call. I also noticed you're not 100% in the shot.
That's okay.
Just say, it's fine. Yeah, whatever.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely tiny town, but Sunshine Coast is like, I want to say, I remember my mom telling me when I was growing up, there's 40,000 people on the whole coast. That's like Powell River, that's Seashell, that's Gibson's, but I don't even think it's that much.
There's 90,000 in Nanaimo, right?
Yeah.
More now. I think it's over 100 now.
Nice.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Which is good.
You see all these places going up. The population is just going to keep boosting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hafeez, you bought a place at the right time, man.
We'll see. I mean, the interest rates are going up.
I think you did.
Yeah, I mean, I
no matter what, great choice on getting property here or getting like a house here. Like, just great choice.
Yeah.
That's my dream. That's one of my dreams. That's one of my goals. That was what we did so we did this retreat where basically we wrote down our values, we wrote down our goals and stuff. And one of my, like, what drives me every day is like being able to one day own a property or a house on Vancouver Island. So that's what I'm aiming for. And maybe when we do the real estate agent or real estate license, I won't have to pay anyone else to go through all that hassle.
Are you allowed to do it like that?
Yeah.
You can do your own transactions?
Yeah.
As long as you're licensed.
Yeah. Yeah. And if not, I'll get Curtis to do mine.
All right.
There we go.
Hopefully he doesn't charge you arm and a leg then.
Yeah.
Yeah, double in the deal. No, Hafeez, that's cool. So you said you traveled for a few years. Yeah. You went to Australia first, yeah?
Few weeks.
Okay.
Years would have been
a few years.
No, sorry. You traveled just
during
right after school.
Yeah.
But what was your first? Australia, you said?
Yeah, I did Australia.
Yeah.
I did a Kontiki tour.
Yeah. Explain what that is, because it was new to me too.
Yeah. The Kontiki tour is, I mean, when people travel, there's different ways you can travel.
Yeah.
Right? You can travel solo, where you stay in hostels. You can travel with friends, where you stay in hostels or hotels.
Yeah.
You can travel, there's different ways you can travel. But for me, like, I had done a few trips before, and I think seeing different places is awesome. And going in hostels, you meet a lot of people, but I think when you're meeting new people every day, it is a bit exhausting.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, that's my take on it. Some people prefer that.
Yeah.
Some people say you get to meet so many different people. And we talk about opportunities.
Yeah.
Some people see that as an opportunity to meet new people every day.
Yeah.
Right? You learn a lot of things from that.
Totally.
But yeah, Kontiki tour, you're with I was with a group of 50.
Yeah.
And for 3 weeks, we traveled the east coast of Australia together. So we had a tour bus, we had all the accommodation booked, some meals included, some activities included, and it was great. Like 50 people, you're gonna get along with a few of those people.
Yeah.
Some people, you want to do certain activities. Some people want to do those. Some people don't. Some people want to hang out. So in terms of the people you're traveling with, because I went on my own, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
But I met all these people, and then for 3 weeks, I was with them.
That's pretty cool. So you make some friends that you stay in contact with even after potentially.
Potentially. It just depends. I think everyone's from all over the world.
Yep.
Like if I was to go to London, UK, I'll reach out to a couple people there that I met on my Kontiki tour. Yeah.
Heck yeah. So you just find these tours online, just register, and then you find out who's on the tour once you actually arrive.
Once you get there, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
That's dope. Did you have like one person that you really like jived with that you just hung out with the whole time?
So I did 3 different tours. So one was in Australia.
Yeah.
And one guy, we kind of stuck together the whole time, which was really cool. And then I did New Zealand, North Island, which was a different tour company called G Adventures.
Yeah.
That was a smaller group, like 15 people. And then South Island, New Zealand, I did a different tour company called Wild Kiwi. And similar type of concept. Just different people, different kind of vibes.
But so what were all the countries that you visited?
Australia and New Zealand.
Those two. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was like the highlight of the trip?
There was a lot. Like, I think in South Island, New Zealand, I rented a car and just drove around.
Nice.
Which was
be so cool.
Well, you're on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too.
Wait, how was that? I'm always curious when people travel and the roads are completely different. Like when I went to India, it was just like, all right, I don't even have a chance here. But like in some places, the rules are different, or you drive on the opposite, or the steering wheel's on the opposite. How was that?
So when you're driving on the opposite side of the road and you're in a foreign country, you're constantly thinking, I'm on the opposite side.
Really?
You're always thinking it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you're actually, it's like my take is that it's actually more dangerous when you come back. Because when you're driving there for however long you're there, the entire time, I mean, you're driving, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
In another country, you're thinking, I'm on the right, I'm on the right, I'm on the right.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. But then when you come back, you're like, I'm home. Whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when it's the most dangerous.
Because you almost like you're not even thinking about it. You know your routes and stuff. So it's like you're not actively thinking when you drive.
Exactly.
So that you remove that and suddenly you take a turn onto the wrong oncoming traffic.
This guy's on the wrong side of the road. What's he fucking doing?
Yeah. You take a left turn.
Hey, buddy. Get out of the way.
Yeah. No, that's what I would say. Yeah. But it was really cool. Like the roads are so windy there, and it's that was really cool.
So were you in like when you were driving? You said it was on the north side of
New Zealand.
South side. Okay, south side. So what cities are near there?
So
the capital's Wellington, right? No,
I can't remember what the cities like. Wellington is in south. Auckland is in north.
Yeah,
and then there is. I'll have to. This was 5 years ago.
Yeah. But you drove all through that yourself?
No, not through all of it.
Okay.
No, I did a tour for parts of it.
Yep.
And then I worked my way around just other cities around there.
Cool,
dude. Bali, I went there when I was in grade 11.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. Like you're driving on the other side of the road, but
everyone,
there's like hardly any vehicles. It's all just motorcycles or like the little mopeds.
Yeah.
And so imagine like thinking, okay, I'm on the left side of the road, but also thinking, like there's no stoplights. Like when you get to an intersection, everyone is just turning and going around each other, and like basically everyone has the right of way, and you're kind of just like you're just. There's also like a lot of the people don't have insurance there. Like that's
I've seen
not
videos
popular.
Of this.
Yeah. I'll show you some of the videos that I took, but like there's just so many people on the road, and it's just chaotic. And this is the first time I'm driving like a moped, like turning right and with oncoming traffic. It's just like it's sketch. And when you want to cross the street, there's no like you can't just like stand on the side of the road and hope everyone stops for you.
That's insane.
The craziest part is like you gotta put your hand out.
Yep.
Hope the motorcycle will stop. Yep. And then you just keep doing that all the way through the road and you cross the street.
That's insane.
That's how it was in India too. I remember I was in North India in Chandigarh, and we had a driver. And she picked us up from this one place and was taking us to this, they called it the Rock Museum, I think. And there was this giant roundabout. And there's cars coming every which way you can imagine. She doesn't slow down or anything. She just goes straight through. And there's cars coming this way, 60 miles an hour at her side, like braking like inches from where I'm sitting in the passenger seat. And I'm just looking out there, and these cars are coming at us. And she just goes through. She's like on her phone, GPS, no worries.
What the fuck?
Yeah, bro. It's insane. I just look over at, I think it was Dustin. I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, this is wild right now.
Dude, the funniest part was when I got picked up from the airport. So I was with like a friend and her family, and I was like, but I was also following this other family, and they didn't speak a ton of English. They did, but it was a lot of time it was kind of hard to understand them. So I was just kind of just following them, and I just had met them like the week before. But when I got to the airport and I came out those doors where all the taxi drivers are and all the like vehicles are, it was just like a sea of people. And I had so many people coming up to me because I'm just this like white guy. There's one in however many thousands of people there.
Yeah.
And everyone's coming up to me like, do you need a ride? Do you need a ride? I'm like holding my bags like this. Like, I'm like, no, I'm good. Like eventually I just had to like ignore. And then everyone's like, no, like come this way. And I'm like, no. Like I'm just going this way. And then I get to and I see like a bunch of motorcycles and stuff. This is like the first time I'm seeing driving. And I'm like, this is wild. And then the truck, and then I meet up with the family, and the truck that we get into is literally like it's like this matte black, like lifted big ass truck that has just horns on the front of it.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what? No fucking way we're getting into this right now and driving through this city. We like literally took up almost the entire road. We took up more than half of the road, and we're just driving through, and everyone just has to go around us because they're on their little bikes.
Yeah.
And it's standard too. And so like the guy driving, I was just like, how is this even possible? I'm like looking out the window, like we are gonna run someone over and not even know it. We're in a monster truck right now.
Yeah, that's how it was in the buses in India. We're in like those giant like buses that we have here too, like the 2 people sit side by side, long distance travel, and the guy's just like turning into traffic. Like the bigger, the more advantage you have there, because cars will yield for you because you're just bigger. Like if you hit them, they're done. Right?
They're done, but also like there's no insurance. So if you hit someone there and you're like over there, you're gonna have to pay them off, like type thing. And you're gonna have to give them money to just compensate because like there's no insurance. Like there's not gonna be an insurance claim. It's wild.
Yeah. I at first I was like what is happening? But you just get used to it. Like after about a week and a half, I was just like, yeah, this is how it is. Like I'm used to this now.
Way of life.
I'm not about to drive, I'll tell you that. Yeah. But yeah, you just get used to it. I remember this one. I'll never forget this moment. We're on this bus going up this mountain, going into Lavasa, and Karthik's literally passed out.
Bring your mic up, Curdy.
He's passed out. He has a t-shirt over his head, and then we go over this giant pothole, and literally we get air. Like everyone's like lifted off their seat. And he just takes the thing off. He's just like, welcome to India, and puts his shirt back and goes back to sleep. So funny, man.
That's funny.
I'll never forget that. But yeah, some wild stories. I can't wait to travel more. I think it's such a good way to learn.
For sure.
Learn about yourself, learn about the world, figure out what you're blessed to have back here on the island.
Totally.
And just, get out there and explore. I think more people need to travel.
Yeah, I mean, time and place. I mean, you don't want to force traveling for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to find the right time to do that.
Yeah.
Focus on things that are important depending on where you are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sure. But it's just something to like think about, like, hey, it's actually cool to go to these countries that you may not initially think that's the place I want to go.
It also gives you a whole new perspective on like life and how the world runs. Like when you go to a country like, different parts of India, but like Indonesia, when I went there, it was a whole different like perspective of how people live their life. Like I think I was saying in an earlier podcast, or maybe we just had a conversation, but the people that I met there and the people that were working at their stands and working on they were working on their little shops just right down the streets, like they were some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And they're just like genuinely happy. But I think it's because they don't have as much as us. And so when we feel like we don't have everything and we're like looking for something more, we're not happy with what we've got, but they're very content with what they have.
Totally.
So it just gives you a whole new perspective. Like I came back definitely a different person, just at least like had a different like mindset on how to live here. Like I felt much more grateful for being able to just drink out of the tap, because I barely even wanted to brush my teeth out of the tap there. It was like you can't drink the water there. And
that's an interesting thing you mentioned about having happiness with less. I feel like coming from a big city, being in a smaller town, I've kind of got that same perspective. And I think it's important. Like I think this 5 years I've been here has been a really cool experience to just appreciate simplicity.
Yeah. No, totally. Less noise, right?
It's not that. It's not less noise necessarily, because someone in Indonesia, it's a busy place.
Yeah.
It's not like it's the busyness.
Yeah.
It's just the appreciation of, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
It's hard to really say it in words too much, but
more like a feeling.
It's like people from a big city see a small town, say, oh, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Or there's, this kind of a perception of a smaller town. But I think being here, I think it's a big step for someone from a big city to come to a small town and be here as long as I have.
Yeah.
And enjoy it for as long as I have.
Yeah.
Right. And people say, oh, there's, but like stuff like this, just, simple things like that's what you need to appreciate in life.
Yeah.
And so I didn't travel long to learn that. This is just from living in a smaller city. And I think that's a lesson that's an important one.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, totally. So back to Australia, Hafeez, I know you have a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
When you were up north, a bit of a skydiving story. So maybe tell that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So we talked about allergies, and Sean made a comment that after 7 years, your allergies go away. And I know that's not true because of the situation that happened. So this was actually in New Zealand, and so I have an anaphylactic allergy to peanuts, and so I chose Australia and New Zealand for a reason, as opposed to Bali. Sounds awesome, going to South America would be cool. There's a lot of places in the world that would be awesome to visit, but I was going on my own, and the language barrier, the types of food you're eating, all comes into play when you have a serious reaction.
Makes sense.
Potential. So I was in South Island, New Zealand, and I'm just eating, tacos and burgers and pizza and just boring whatever food that's not gonna have nuts in it.
Yeah.
So I was on this trip for 6 weeks total. So 5th week of the trip, I had a burger that was cross contaminated with satay sauce. Satay sauce is just peanut sauce.
Yeah.
And it's on me, to not have asked, but you just don't expect a burger to have nuts in it. So the place I was staying, it was like a cabin type of retreat, and so this was like a not a food truck, but just kind of an area in the campsite. And so I ate the burger, and I've had allergic reactions before.
Yeah.
So I felt that I was having an allergic reaction, so I just went back to my cabin, and on my walk there, I started feeling short of breath and itchy, and part of me was like, okay, well, it's been 5 weeks. I'm probably a little bit out of shape at this point. But no, it was a full-fledged allergic reaction. So I gave myself the EpiPen. I had my inhalers. I had Benadryl. Like, these are the things that you have if you need for an allergic reaction.
Totally.
But if you take an EpiPen, you take a Benadryl, you take your inhalers, you still got to go to the hospital. Like, this is just like a temporary fix.
Yeah.
Like, do you know people who have had allergic reactions?
I know one.
I know one person. Hafeez Dossa.
I know one other person.
Okay. And you've never had a reaction yourself?
No, not like that.
No. Like, your allergy to pollen and cats was not...
The cats was like, I needed to get that, like, fur off of me. I went and I showered. Like, I didn't have puffers at this point. So I just went home, showered. I was like, my mom, like, had to, like, calm me down, but I was, like, very short of breath. But we never ever went going to the hospital. I was okay after, like, a few hours. But
see, I wish I could have just showered. That would have been awesome. I would have showered in the middle of the street. Like, honestly, that's terrifying.
Anything.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. So anyway, I'm walking. Anyways, I get myself the EpiPen, an inhaler, and then it's like, okay, now what? Right? Like, I'm good for 20 minutes.
That's it?
30 minutes. I don't know the exact time, but that's what you're supposed to, like.
Yeah. You're supposed to call 911 ASAP, right? Basically, when you give yourself the thing.
Yeah. Today is the 16th of February. This is exactly 5 years ago.
Damn.
No way it's today. Yeah. That's crazy. Wild,
that's
man.
Insane.
Huh.
So it was summer there because it's opposite of here, right?
Wait, hold on. That's insane. This is literally 5 years ago.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
It's meant to happen, man.
Yeah, it was meant to happen.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyways, I live to tell the story. Yeah. So I'm there. 9:30 p.m. This open field, like, vivid image. Like, I'm in this open field with a bunch of cabins around. EpiPen just lying on the ground, and I'm with these people that I met like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, this was at the start of the Katiki tour.
So this was a different tour company, but it was at the end of one tour or the beginning of another one. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just in this open field and, like, hives, and my face is swollen, and I'm short of breath and all this stuff, and they're like calling 911, and there's like barely any cell service in the area. This is insane. So they call the equivalent of 911 for New Zealand, and the place that I was staying is an 1.5-hour drive from a hospital. Okay, so I mean, what do you, like, an ambulance to get there? It's gonna take time.
Yeah.
I had my car rented at the time, so driving to the hospital, it's probably a worse move.
No, do not do that. Yeah.
I remember, like, I was in the backseat of the car, and they were gonna drive me to the hospital, and then someone, thank God, someone voice of reason was like, "This is not, like, this is not the right move.
Yeah.
So they ended up getting a helicopter to fly to this campsite, and they picked me up from there, took me to the hospital. So I got to the hospital at like 10 o'clock.
How long has it been since the reaction?
45 minutes.
And you're probably like, the breathing is getting worse?
Well, at the time, once they've picked me up, they've given me some other medication. They gave me prednisone.
Immediately, right?
Yeah. They gave me prednisone, and they take me into the helicopter, and then I fly into the hospital. They put me in a wheelchair. They wheel me. They do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they hook me up to some IVs, and they keep me there for monitoring for 3 hours. So 10:30 p.m. By the time they picked me up, they gave me prednisone. I was good. Honestly, that I carry prednisone with me now too.
Yeah.
I think everybody that has a reaction should.
Yeah.
But anyway, so 10:30 p.m. My face is still swollen, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, crisis averted.
Yeah.
I'm fine. But they got to keep me there for 3 hours to monitor. It's tough to sleep because I just had this experience. Plus, EpiPen is epinephrine.
Yeah. It's the opposite of what you want before sleeping.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there in the hospital bed, just kind of hanging out, 10:30 till 1:30, because they got to keep me there for 3 hours. Now, I got helicoptered there, but they're not going to helicopter me back. Like, that'd be really nice of them.
Uber heli.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're good here? Okay, here's your parachute.
Yeah.
No.
Push them out.
Off you go.
Yeah.
No. So, like I said, I met these people 4 days prior to this event happening. Devin from Calgary. Shout out to Devin from Calgary.
Heck yeah.
Drove my rented car from, hour and a half, picked me up at 1:30. Okay? I just met this guy.
What a legend.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we went back to the cabin 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, when you're traveling, you always have packed agendas. You have all these different activities planned.
Yeah.
So I had an activity planned at 6 a.m. the next morning. So to get back at 3 a.m., I can't sleep.
Yeah. Especially going through that. Yeah.
Pumped up with adrenaline. Can't believe what just happened.
Yeah.
So maybe I slept for an hour and a half. Woke up at 6 a.m. and I got picked up for the activity I went to. And yeah, went skydiving.
Damn.
The next morning.
At 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Maybe 6:30 by the time I actually was in the plane, but yeah.
Yo, so when you do the extreme sports, they have that safety checklist.
Yeah.
Have you been to the hospital recently? Nope.
No, I definitely did not answer those honestly.
Yeah.
No, I was doing it. I don't care. I was gonna do it.
You went all the way to New Zealand. You were skydiving.
I was skydiving, and it doesn't matter. And you know what? I wasn't as scared jumping out of the plane.
Oh, I bet.
Because you just survived.
Because I just had this near-death experience.
Yeah. Crazy.
So.
And you're probably still on adrenaline.
Yeah, and then if you look at the photos, my eyes are still swollen, and what a crazy story.
Did you have a backup, like
EpiPen?
Or were you just like, now you just gotta be real safe?
Oh, I don't know. I must have.
Yeah.
I don't think I would go another week without an EpiPen at that point.
That would be,
Do you think the hospital would have gave you one when you left?
Or sold it to you?
Yeah.
Sold it? No, they usually.
Insurance.
I've had, this is my third allergic reaction, and sometimes they'll give you epinephrine in a vial.
Oh, okay. You just administer it yourself.
I can't remember what ended up happening at that point, but.
Do you just stab through the clothes?
You can.
But you wouldn't. He's doing it to himself. He's not going to ruin his nice pants.
I think it would just go through the cloth. I don't think
it would. It would. You would have a hole in it, I guess. But no, you can just.
So you pulled your pants down, just stab it in your leg.
Man.
Yeah, or shorts up.
Yeah, that's true. You're in New Zealand.
I'm sorry. The story does sound better if I pull my pants down, but I'm just telling you the honest story. Like, I was wearing shorts at the time.
Okay, makes sense.
Summer.
I still would have pulled them down.
Makes sense. Oh man,
Sean from Canada.
Crazy. Yo,
Hafeez, do you remember how you got into the helicopter? Like, did they put you on one of those stretcher things, or did you?
No, I walked.
You're still at that point.
I was fine at that. Well,
okay.
It was crazy, like being in the middle of that field and someone was holding my legs up so that blood would not rush. It was a crazy experience. And, you know, it's cool to talk about the story now and reflect on it, but that's a scary situation to be in.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I've never really thought of that before because I don't have allergies, but traveling destinations is like actually quite limited if you have like life-threatening allergies.
You know, not as much anymore.
Okay.
I would say like there's people who put blogs up about how to travel anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? You can learn, you can have like, I have a cousin who has a serious allergy, and she's living in Malaysia.
Oh, really?
And she has a card with, you know, I am allergic to nuts. If I eat nuts, I will die. Translated. And it's just, you get around it.
Yeah.
I think for me at that stage, I was alone.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been to Australia, New Zealand. Like, it would still have been a good experience. But I'm just thinking, you know, for future travel, I would love to explore some different areas. But, you know, maybe I wouldn't do that on my own.
Yeah. Did you have to have, so obviously you had health insurance there. So that was all covered, or how was that process?
That's a great question. So I did have health insurance, travel insurance, but New Zealand, they have this law, crazy, that if anything happens that's an accident, they'll cover it.
No way.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So because it was an allergy.
See, okay, I was a bit vague on that. I don't know the specifics of it. All I know is that the helicopter ride and the hospital stay, I didn't have to even claim it through insurance.
So they didn't even bill MSP.
Huh.
Well, I don't think MSP covers that, but
fair.
no, like my travel insurance, I didn't even have to claim it.
Dang.
Like
that's crazy.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Zealand.
Good for New Zealand.
Save some paperwork.
I feel like they do some smart shit over there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
No, it was really cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to go there.
Yeah, me too, man. It's near the top of my bucket list for sure. My dad went there when he was 18, fresh out of high school. He moved there for 8 months. Yeah. New Zealand, Australia.
Christchurch. That's a city.
Yeah.
Okay. You're asking me about cities.
Yeah, I know that one too. That is, I can't remember what the capital is, but it might.
Queenstown is another city. I froze earlier when you asked me about cities.
Yeah. So they're coming all back.
They're coming to me now. Yeah. Rotorua.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. GeoGuessr.
Actually,
later.
that's in the North Island, I think.
There's this. I don't know if you will know the volcano there, but there's this island that is just like a pure just volcano. It's basically like the volcano's underneath, like down below, and then the top of it is basically just the island.
Is it like hot pools?
Yeah,
I think that's Rotorua.
Is it? Okay, maybe it's not. So basically, there's this documentary. I think it was on. It could have been on Disney Plus, but it also might have been on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure, but it was called like Mount something, I think. And basically, there was like tour guides that take these people on boats out to this island to view the volcano, and people from all over the world come to this tour spot in New Zealand to look at this volcano, and usually when this thing, like, it's not it is a very active volcano, but usually it's like there haven't been any instances of it erupting while people have been on it.
Yeah.
So people just assumed, okay, it's safe. And there was frequent guides going out there every single day. And the times that it has erupted, it's usually been at nighttime for whatever reason.
Wow.
But there's this honestly, you need to watch it. I'm going to find the name of it in a little bit here, but these people go out on multiple boats go out to this thing, and there's multiple tours. So let's say that like this is the island here and the volcano's up here, the boat's parked up here, and so multiple tours. There was like one at the volcano, there was one like halfway, and then there's one like halfway back coming around. So they're doing like little tours around the whole island.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the volcano started to erupt while everyone's on the island. And
nuts.
It is like basically it's a documentary form. So you're talking to the people who survived it.
Wow.
And you can see like their burns all over their faces, all over their arms, like crazy documentary. And so basically what they had was people flying in with their own personal helicopters to come save these people because the government or whatever wouldn't send out a rescue crew to go save these people because it was still active. So these people were like, no, like there's people stranded out there. Like this is talk of the town. Like everyone, it's a smaller village. Everyone's talking about this. And so there's this one company, and these guys are like heroes. They like they go out there, fly their own helicopters, land on this island that just erupted, and they're dragging like as many people as they can into this thing. And there was quite a few people who died, and there was this, like, it tells different people's perspective of it. Like the people who were right on the shore, one guy like dove into the water when it erupted. There was people who were like made a break for it and were running back to the boat. And then there was people who were like right there. Yeah. And it's crazy how many people actually did survive. People were hiding behind rocks. And there's like this one couple where you can see like the husband had his hand around the wife's hand, and they're hiding behind like a rock. And it's just pure steam, pure hot steam, just melting their skin away. But you can see the burns all on his hand. And then on her hand, there's like a hand mark of like clean skin because he was just holding it so tight. And
it's nuts, man. So sad.
Man. It was sad. It was a crazy documentary, but like it was also just like, I don't know, it gives you the people's perspective. It's one of those uplifting ones at the end, obviously. And but now it's no longer, no one can go back there. Like there haven't been tours back there since.
Crazy.
I'm gonna find the name of it. You know? Oh man, I want to say like probably 2009, 2010.
Oh, pretty recent.
So pretty recent. Yeah. There's like footage of it. Like there's people's video cameras of on the boat, and they're driving away, and they're like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. And then all of a sudden they start getting radioed in on the boat. Like all the tourists hear this, that there's people on the island. And that's when it was panic. The boat turns around. They're like going around the smoke. Like you can see like the whole eruption, and they're going back to try and get these people. And the ash obviously is like settling. It takes like a long time for it to settle. So you're like, you can't see, you're coughing, you're breathing in all this shit.
Yeah. It
was wild.
That's crazy.
Highly recommend it though. It was a really well done, but yeah, that was on New Zealand.
I'll check that one out. Yo, Shawnee, I think it's time for our weekly segment.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to Convos and Cocktails. So this is segment 4, I think. This is the 4th one. So I just got to grab the ice, and I'll be back.
You bet. While Sean's putting that together, Hafeez, I wanted to talk to you about this. What do you think about the Canucks right now?
Oh,
well, I couldn't have you on without bringing this up, man.
See, you know, as a diehard Canucks fan, I think, you know, we were talking about it going into the season.
Yeah.
I was excited.
Yeah.
I think they had 3 solid lines with 3 solid centers.
Yeah.
Top, like, you know, if you look at the way that they were built down the middle with Pettersson, Miller, and Horvat, I think that's, you know, top 5 or not top. Is there any other team that, like,
those are good centers
on paper? Like, that's a great 3-way.
We watched the first game together.
We watched the first game
and
together.
It was really good until that one missed call, and the season's gone downhill ever since.
And I say this all the time. I think that if the Canucks had re-signed Horvat going into the season, it would have been different because there was way too many distractions. You know, and here we are now, and we're in Bedard territory, which, you know, as a fan, it'd be great to get Bedard. I think it's just...
Can't rely on that, right?
You just want to build a winning culture, and I think we had the team to potentially do it. Yeah, we had challenges on defense. Yeah, Demko was tough. You know, tough year to start, and he got injured. But, you know, the Horvat trade, they're obviously making moves for the future, and I'll always be a fan no matter what.
Yeah,
so.
Me too, man. Yeah. It's a good take. Cool. All right, over to you, Shawnee.
Sweet. Okay, so we're going to try this again. We didn't air the podcast that this happened on, but we tried the paralyzer, and I screwed up the ratio, curdled the milk, and it tasted like wet grass. Or how did you describe it?
Freshly mowed lawn.
Freshly mowed lawn was actually how he described it. So we're going to try it and not do that. But yeah, this is called a paralyzer. We're going to use vodka. We're going to use Kahlua, and we're going to be using milk and some Coke. We have Diet Coke because we don't like sugar. So, without further ado, I'm going to crack some ice into this.
Cool.
Milk's good, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Best before date on there?
Yeah. Definitely. Don't worry. Sure Feb 21st.
All right. I'm skeptical. I'm going to be honest with you, Sean.
Yeah, you should be.
So is Curtis. And honestly, so was I. The only paralyzer I ever had was the one that I fucked up on this.
So we're all skeptical of this drink.
Yes.
But we're trying it. It's a little adventure. And if it's no good, we got some more beers to wash it down.
Exactly. And if it's no good, well, not to make this drink.
Or don't let Sean make it for you. I think that's
yeah. There you go.
I don't know. I trust you this time.
I do. It's not the.
I learned from my mistakes, Hafeez. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, this is an opportunity, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's what is it? What was the recipe again? Too much Coke last time?
Way too much Coke.
Yeah. Okay.
I used way too much Coke.
So this time it's more milk, less Coke.
Yeah. More milk?
But Hafeez, have you ever had Kahlua and milk just by itself?
No.
It's really good.
Have you ever had Bailey's and milk?
No.
Oh man, those drinks.
Have you ever had
Christmas
Bailey's?
Time?
Yes.
Okay.
You like Bailey's?
What have you had Bailey's with?
By itself.
Yeah,
Really?
fair enough, man. Bailey's by itself is bussin'.
There's a cube on the ground, Curtis. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. A little water is not gonna hurt no one.
Okay, it's gone. I don't know where it went.
It's fine.
All right. Okay, so how this recipe is gonna work? We're gonna do doubles this time. I'm gonna do a little bit less Kahlua because it tasted pretty coffee last time. Do we have the old one? No, it doesn't matter. Fuck it.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll open this. So we're gonna do a 1-to-1 ratio. Again, this is a 2-ounce shot glass. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of vodka.
Nice.
All right.
Hafeez is like, yep, my drink's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
1 ounce of vodka. We're gonna do 1 ounce of Kahlua.
This would be good too. Just Kahlua and vodka on the rocks.
It's pretty strong.
You think so?
That'd
I think it'd be pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? I think anything with Kahlua is good. It's a good drink.
I think Bailey's and vodka might be okay, but Kahlua is so coffee. It's so coffee. It's almost too much. I think the mixture between that and the curdled milk is what gave you the like the
mowed lawn.
Yeah.
Now we put the Coke in. All right.
So we're gonna do 2 ounces of Coke.
1. Nice. Heck yeah. And then finally, milk. How much milk do we put in this?
We do 5 ounces of milk. But
so
you know what?
2 shots and a half.
Yeah, I'm going to see how much we're actually going to get in here. If not, I'm going to transfer these to bigger glasses just so we have enough. But I'm going to see how much one of these takes. 2. That's not going to be enough. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us bigger glasses.
It's fine, bro.
Yeah,
sure?
I think we're fine.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't want mowed lawn, and I don't want you guys bitching.
No, I'm good, man.
I don't see how more milk.
No, more milk was the key last time. Less Coke.
I think more milk, more problems.
We're doing 4 ounces of milk instead of the...
Hafeez, there's some government commercials in the 90s that definitely disagree with that. Got milk?
Yeah.
Okay,
alrighty.
these are full. These are full.
I do not know how milk and Coke is a combination. That is...
Have you ever had oat milk and Coke? Just straight up? I said this last time. Oat milk and Coke, actually really good. You'd think it's so weird, but it's like kind of like a root beer float. It's the same idea.
Yeah, think about floats, man. It's
I think my main question is what is oat milk?
Oat milk? It's just like, isn't it just like blended up fucking oats and then you just like press it and you get the milk out of it?
Is oat milk white?
Yeah. It's like clear.
How does that make any sense?
Bro, I'll tell you one thing. Technically, it's not milk. Oats don't lactate.
Yeah, no,
so
it's
you
not.
can't
Yeah, that was
oat
thanks,
milk.
Curtis.
Okay,
that's pretty much what I was
saying.
trying to get at. Yeah.
It's
okay,
oat
just
beverage.
Wait a sec here.
That's white somehow. Like oats are dark. Like I don't.
All right, boys. This is gonna be a tough cheers, but we're gonna try her out.
All right, let's do this. This is gonna be
steady hands or what?
Steady hands. Let's see if this works out this time.
Cheers. Cheers.
Low expectations. Remember, boys.
It's better.
Way better than last time.
Way better.
And once you get a decent amount in there, I'll give you the extra ounce of milk, and maybe it'll...
Nah, you're not touching this.
Okay.
I gotta give it to you, Sean.
It's not bad, right?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Nope.
See, something like this in the winter, I'm fine. That's good. I'd never drink this in the summer, but in the winter, it's like, it's warm almost.
Yeah. And I think it's also a little bit different.
Yeah.
I feel like because we're using... I mean, you can tell it's a little bit Diet Coke. Like it's Diet Coke.
Well, the last Coke was bootleg though.
Yeah, the last Coke was pretty bad.
Yeah, we had like an off-brand Coke. It was like Superstore name brand Coke. This is nice. There's no lawn to be tasted in here.
No. Yeah, great ratio. Much better. And
good job,
it's not even.
I think it's better with the 4 ounces of milk.
Yeah,
I wouldn't change it actually. I
would keep it like this.
Yeah. I haven't tried that per se.
Yeah,
but I don't see how more milk.
I'm gonna add some to mine. You guys can try it if you want.
Yeah, I just think you get more of the Kahlua.
Yeah,
which is the dominant flavor.
This is a double. This is a double. Remember that.
The Kahlua is the dominant flavor.
Paralyzer.
Technically a double, but this is only fucking
15, right?
16%. Yeah, so it's. I mean, it's honestly probably just it's 1.5.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Nice.
Just under.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
You don't like milk, do you? I think you're not a big milk guy.
I haven't drank milk in years.
Okay, so that's why we're getting this.
Yeah.
Totally. That makes sense.
Anyways, so back to the Canucks. So Hafeez, you think on paper at the beginning of the season they had a team that could be playoff potential?
Yeah, I mean like LA, Calgary. I wasn't too sold on. I mean Edmonton. The Canucks were dominating them in that first game. It's just you lose 4 games in the fashion you did. Your captain's not signed. You got Vancouver media. You got a young team. People are gonna get down on themselves. The coach isn't signed to next year. It's unfortunate. Like I think I commend the players for playing as well as they did. Like they went 0-7 or 0-8, and they got back to 500. Like that's impressive.
Yeah, it's
with all the distractions they had. Horvat, like how are you captain of an NHL Canadian team
in the prime city of Vancouver
with all that negativity?
Yeah,
and you still put up career numbers. Like kudos, honestly. It's just I wish that Horvat retired a Canuck.
Yeah, totally.
I wish he played his whole career as a Canuck, and I just think that. I'm an optimist, and I think that if they had re-signed Horvat, the Canucks are in the playoffs.
Changes the game? Yeah.
I think so. But you know what? Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Did you go to any of the playoffs in 2011?
Yeah, I was at Game 7.
Wait, Boston, Vancouver. You were at the finals.
He was at the finals.
It's my birthday that day.
Jeez, man. That's insane.
Yeah. And you actually tell that whole day. Like, how did that day feel? Like going into the game?
Worst day of your life?
You know what? Well, what did I just say? I'm an optimist, right? So that's the spin I'll put on it eventually. But it's, you wake up that day. It's your birthday. It's going to be the best day of your life. Canucks are going to win the cup. What could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't win the game. And a lot of stuff happened after that. But I was there with my dad. And after the game ended, we just sat there for we watched the whole celebration with Boston. We were there till they cleared us out of the arena. And then I got on the SkyTrain and we headed home. And I'm not someone who's on my phone. Like I was at the game.
Yeah.
Not taking photos.
You're living in the moment.
I was living in the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And take out my phone and I get a lot of texts. Are you okay? Checking in on me. And emotionally I'm upset.
Yeah.
Choked. And then I get home and look at the news and it's riots and burning buildings and smashing glass. It's this is why people are asking me if I'm okay. They don't care about my feelings.
That's so funny.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I was kind of worried about you there for a second.
Yeah.
How's Hafeez doing? But no, small businesses just getting broken into.
Yeah, but you know what? As a diehard hockey fan, who gets to see the Stanley Cup get awarded?
That's pretty cool.
Happens once a year.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to be. You don't know when it's going to be.
Cool.
But, my dad and I had a package for the season where it's you get 1 game per round. And at the beginning of each season, you get to choose which game per round you're going to get. So it was 2011. The Canucks were looking like a pretty good team. And so we said, you know what? Round 4, we'll take home game 4. Which means that if the Canucks make the Cup Finals and we have home ice advantage and it goes to Game 7, we will be at that game.
Damn.
That's insane.
And so the chances of all of that happening. So if you really think about it, Game 6, Canucks go into Boston.
Yeah.
They could win the cup.
You're hoping they lose.
Am I?
I don't know.
What would
I
you
think
do?
it's a win-win either way.
I'm selfishly, I'm hoping they lose. But if I don't know, man, it depends on how big of a fan. If you're just a fan that is just for the team, and you've already seen a bunch of games and whatever, and you know, that's not what you're concerned about. If you're bigger, it depends on what your priority was. Is your priority them winning, or is it you seeing them play in the game 7? Because if it was them winning, you would have said, "Fuck it, game 6, and then we'll go next year or something." But,
you're making great points, Sean.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for you.
Dude, you're very lucky. Know. You're very lucky that happened.
Hafeez, you chose your tickets before they even played a single game.
So round 1, like think about it. Like if you really think back to that cup run.
Yeah.
Game 5, San Jose. That's home game 3. Right?
Oh, I see.
I didn't have home game 3.
Did you have home game 4?
No. Home game 4 you can only choose one home game 4.
Oh, I see. So you reserved that for your final.
So you got to see one every single time, or you only got to see the game 4 home?
So we had round 1 home game 2, I think. Round 2 we had a home game. I can't remember.
Okay.
Round 3 I think we had home game 1, and round 4 home game 4. So, but if I had round 1 home game 4. That was the Blackhawks overtime game.
That was
Burrows slaying the dragon, right? So it's
there
were some great games.
So many good games.
Yeah.
The Kevin Dieksa Sharks goal was nice
That
too.
would have been round 3, home game 3.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's such a legendary year.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
Boys, I think we need to make a pact right now.
What's that?
If Vancouver ever makes it to the finals again, we need to go to a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's tickets. Who knows what they'll be at that point. Like
I'm willing to spend some money.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm game. If the Canucks have only made, how many times have they made the finals?
3.
Since they were 3 times. 95. Was it
94?
No. 94.
80 something. I don't
know. Before my time of watching them. I only know, I wasn't even around then, but the 84 or the 94, which is the Pavel Bure, right?
Yeah.
And then 2011.
Yeah.
But 2011 was hype for most people.
I still can't believe, I just remember watching that game 7 and just being just so disgusted. Like, how is this happening right now?
Yeah, blowout.
4-1. Like, this is a blowout. We're not even putting up a fight right now.
Yeah. 4-0.
4-0? It was 4-0?
Whatever.
Oh.
It already happened, Sean. Don't be upset.
Yeah. Sometimes I watch that back, though. That series. Not that game. But I watch the Blackhawks game, or I watch the Sharks goal.
I think the Slay the Dragon might be one of the most hype goals of all time, man. It's the craziest thing. The fact that it doesn't happen a ton in the game where you can just grab the puck and drop it to yourself. Yeah. But the fact that you can score off of it, grabbing the puck out of the air and throwing it in front of you, running up and a slap shot.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one?
Nasty.
It was in 2018. San Jose, Vegas, when San Jose came back.
No.
It was 3-0, and San Jose had a 5-minute power play.
Oh, it was a major penalty?
It was a major penalty with 8. This actually happened. It was 3-0. I'm pretty sure this was the score. 3-0 Vegas with 8 minutes left in the third period. Okay? This was game 7.
Yeah.
Insane, okay? Vegas is up 3-0. They take a 5-minute major penalty. So major penalty, you can score as many goals.
do remember this. This is Vegas' first year in the league.
No, they made the cup finals.
Oh, this is the year after that.
This is the year after.
Okay.
And then so San Jose got a 5-minute power play. They scored 4 goals.
Oh, I think I've heard of this.
They scored 4 goals on that power play.
That's
because it doesn't end, right?
No.
A major penalty. Yeah.
So they scored 1, and Couture scores the goal, and he goes to the bench, and he goes, "That's 1."
No way, man.
What a moment!
That's
and
insane.
they score 3, they tie it. The building's going nuts. San Jose's a home team.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then Kevin LeBanc scores this goal, and they're going nuts. 4-3, and then Marchessault ties it. With 2 minutes left, they go into overtime.
Yeah,
and then I think Barclay Goodrow scores 5-4, and they win it. They go to
that's insane, bro.
Game 7.
But can you imagine you're the coach of a team and the penalty against you 5 minutes? The coach was livid.
That's tough. What did he do?
Man.
Was it high stick?
Cross-checked Pavelski off the draw. It shouldn't have been a 5. You know what?
double minor, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
A lot of people were really choked about it.
Yeah, of course, man. I still remember this one. It was what was it? Boston, Chicago, Stanley Cup Finals, and they were down. What was it? 3-1 or no? I can't remember what the score was, but they came back 2 goals to win it.
It was
in
2-1.
2-1, yeah.
2-1 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, 2 minutes or less. Yeah.
And then they tied it, and then before it even went to overtime, they went
Chicago
ahead.
scored. Yep. Can you imagine? I was so happy. I hated Boston for years after 2011.
I hate Boston still.
Yeah, fair enough.
The craziest game that I didn't see it live, but the craziest game that I've seen recent was that Canucks Montreal game at home.
Were you there?
No, it was the game after the game I went to.
Because you were at the game last year against Dallas.
I was at that one.
I remember that. I was
that
texting
was
you.
a crazy game. No, but I went to, I think it was Coyotes and Vancouver, and then the next game, Vancouver played Montreal in Vancouver.
7-6. I was watching that.
It was 4-0, I think. And then
I remember this.
And
one.
Vancouver comes
they
back,
the goalie,
ties it, and then it was 4-0, but with minutes left in the second period.
Yeah.
So all the goals were scored within like 2 minutes of the second, like left in the second to the third, and then it was like 5-5 at one point or 6-6 goes into overtime, and then it was 7-6 was the final score.
No, I know. Pettersson scored the overtime winner. It was unreal. I remember that.
Insane. I think that's game of the year, honestly, that I've seen or heard of.
There was another one against Seattle, actually, where it was a shootout. I think it was 7-6 or 6-5 or 8-7 or something. Similar.
That's
crazy.
Nuts. Yo, you know what's crazy? I've been watching Canucks since I was born because my mom's always watched it too.
Yeah.
Never been to a game.
Never
been to a game.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
So that pack we made. What if your first game you ever go to
Stanley Cup Finals?
Stanley Cup Final.
That'd be
this
sick,
year,
boys.
This year, baby.
No, this year they're done.
I would not do that because then you won't appreciate the novelty of that game. If the first game you ever go to.
But I have been watching them since I was born.
You've never been to a game?
No.
No, but think about how hyped that would be for a first experience.
Yeah.
Not just any game, it's a finals game, and everyone.
I wouldn't mind though. Crazy. My first game going to be a playoff game at least. Playoffs are hype, man. The hits, like everything, like the game changes. That's what I love about playoff sports.
Yeah,
the game is changed completely.
With the towel,
the competitive level is just so high.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's like that in basketball too. I haven't paid attention to regular season before the last few years, so I don't know exactly. But in hockey, it's nuts in playoffs. The hits, just like the speed.
It's also something about playing the same team back to back.
Yeah,
back to back.
Yeah, 7-game series.
Yeah, it's like there's something about it. It's like, okay, you got us, now we got you. It's like now it's this competition that's different.
Yeah.
Rather than just a regular season game where it's like, oh, they won. It's like, whatever.
That's what I love about hockey and basketball versus football. NFL's great, but you play one game and you're done. So there's not like that rivalry.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
But there's rivalries within divisions.
Of course, yeah.
And every game is hype throughout the season since there's only 17 games.
Yeah, totally. Completely different sport.
Yeah.
Football, you wouldn't want to play more games. It's too injury prone.
Yeah. No, players couldn't do it.
No, absolutely. No, I definitely will go with a game, and it will definitely be with you too.
Yeah.
When I do it.
Yeah, man. That Dallas game was one of the most fun experiences.
I remember that.
I wish you were there, man.
I remember you were FaceTiming me.
Yeah.
You were, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
We were also in such a good spot. Like, we were lower bowl.
Yeah.
But we were right above, like, the tunnel. So we could put our drinks on top of the tunnel.
Yeah. And
we had, like, the 4 seats basically just, like, reserved for us right over that tunnel.
Yeah.
And we were just going ballistic, man. There was, at one point, I remember the 50-50. It always gets, like, super high. And so we were like, okay, boys, when the 50-50 gets announced, we're all just going to go crazy and pretend like we won.
I bet you like 100 people do that at every game at least.
Oh, probably. Yeah. So
you were just 4 of the 100.
So there's 4 of us, and we're like pretty sauced at that point.
Yeah.
And they announced the winners, and we're like, oh my god. We look at our buddies, and we're like, oh my god, and we start going crazy, and everyone in our section's like looking over at us, and they're like, what the. And then there's like kids behind us like high-fiving us. And we're like high-fiving everybody. We're just like, let's go. Like, we won. and then everyone, like all the adults and everyone's like looking over at us. And then it just like tames down because we just all start laughing. But it's so fucking funny. We were at a BC Lions game this year back in October, and they do this thing called the Simba Cam. Oh. So basically, like all the people with their kids they lift them up like for the camera.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So there was like 6 of us, and Jack was there. You know Jack.
Yeah.
And so for the Simba Cam, we all lifted Jack up. we all of them like lifted up above. And I was so surprised the camera didn't pan over on us and like they didn't do it, man. I was like, come on.
They probably remembered you from the 50-50 at the Canucks game.
Yeah,
like, yeah. These guys are on the
we're
blacklist.
not gonna get these guys on camera. They just want attention.
Yeah. We were doing whatever we took.
Yo, have you guys ever seen those kiss cam videos where they like
they're fake? They're
have
fake.
To be, right?
They're staged.
Fake.
Yeah.
There's no
fake.
Everything's fake.
Everything's fake.
Yeah.
Everything's fake.
Okay.
Those videos especially are fake.
Are the lookalike cams fake? I don't think so.
No,
that's real.
Yeah. But yeah, the classic fake kiss cam is where the guy sits there and the actual guy is gone. And then she kisses him, and then he comes back and sits right in the middle.
Yeah, but it's so obvious. It's like, how does anyone fall for that shit? Like, you can easily tell. It's like by the reaction, like the guy's like pissed, like on the phone or whatever, and then like the girl like kisses the guy beside, and then like you can just tell it's just so obvious. He like puts the phone down. And he's like acting out like this, like so because there's no audio. So he's like, I'm angry at you. And then it's like coke in face or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
There's no way those are.
There's no fucking way.
There's so much stuff that's staged.
100%.
It's just
it gets clicks, man.
That's all that matters, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
I hate that shit.
The Jumbotron, they got some good content though. Like that's what makes these games.
So I went to a game in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And
because your goal is every city, right?
Yeah. Okay, so if the Blackhawks don't trade Patrick Kane, I'm gonna go to Chicago to watch the Canucks play there.
Nice.
If they do trade Patrick Kane, then I'll go to Chicago another year. But anyways, New Jersey. So one of the things about going to these cities to see the games is the fan experience. It's cool.
Totally.
And like if you go to a game in Vancouver and the Canucks lose, it's brutal. It's not fun.
Yeah.
People go there, you wasted money. It wasn't a good experience. They lose in overtime or it's a close game, whatever. But usually, even if they lose in overtime, sometimes you're kind of pissed off.
Yeah. We're still. I just want to make sure we're still recording. Right?
Yeah, we are.
Okay,
cool. We're good.
There's something back in my head.
He's like, "Come on, like, do you want me to check?"
No.
Yeah, he's nervous.
I trust you.
I'll check.
I
trust your story, Hafeez.
No, you just know what will happen if it's not recording.
You'll beat my ass.
I'll smash that computer.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I went to New Jersey, and so I love Nickelback. I'll just put it out there. I love Nickelback.
Yo, I don't know why. Why do they get hate, man?
Nickelback.
I don't understand. They
people
have
just,
good
people just
music.
love to hate them. It's the thing. It's like people love to see these obvious fake videos because everyone else likes them, and they just, So Nickelback is like, it's cool to hate Nickelback.
It's like Justin Bieber, I guess, back like in the day. Yeah. People hate him for no reason. Yeah.
So what they do in New Jersey is when a player on the opposite team, so the Canucks, gets a penalty, they'll play that Nickelback song, Look at This Photograph.
Oh, nice.
And they'll put the player's photo in the photograph.
Yeah. That's funny, man.
But what I was saying about the fan experience, if you go to a game in Vancouver and the Canucks lose, it sucks. It's awful.
Yeah.
But if you go to a game in any city, Boston, let's say.
Yeah.
Or I don't know why I said Boston. Any city.
Fuck Boston.
Yeah, let's not talk about them tonight.
Okay. Any city except for Boston.
Yeah.
And the Canucks win, it's great. If they lose, think about it. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, true.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah, you're right.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's like when I watch sports on TV, if I have two teams or for example, a big one is UFC. If I have a fighter that I want to win, sometimes I'll bet on the other fighter so that if they lose, well, it's a win-win regardless. Like I'm happy that I won my bet, but I'm also happy if the other guy wins.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's just I don't know. Sometimes I do it. It's also like sometimes I'll just have a favorite that is unlikely to win, so I'll bet on the other guy, and if my guy wins, it's like, great, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Whatever.
totally. Hafeez actually taught me a lesson with sports betting. Never home bet. Never be a homer when it comes to betting, because you're emotionally attached to the team. Like, it's better to bet on like goals. Like, Horvat's going to get 2 goals tonight or whatever.
That's a homer bet if I ever heard one.
It is. But if
I know what you mean.
If I'm betting on roster players,
yeah,
I'm already interested in them all scoring goals.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm betting on Canucks to lose, that just feels shitty.
Yeah, there's sports betting is fun. It makes the game more interesting.
Yeah.
As long as it's fun.
Yeah.
When you get to a hole and you're chasing, it's not. Shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So.
No, totally. Did you watch Super Bowl or not, Hafeez? Football's not your thing. Yeah, we had an event at the pub for Super Bowl. It went really well. People were into it, man. I was the guy giving out the prizes. For like, we had these commercial break prize giveaways or whatever.
Commercial breaks, that's the best part. No?
Yeah. Well, in Canada, the commercials aren't. They're kind of.
Oh, they don't play the American commercials?
No.
Really?
Yeah. They're Canadian commercials, so they're not as good.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No, they're not.
Wait, what about the Breaking Bad one?
You get some of them,
Oh.
but like the good ones from like American, like Geico and like all the American companies that put like tons of money into that every year, we don't get those. So I always watch them on YouTube after. But anyways, commercials, no one really cares. So I'm giving away prizes and stuff. And the whole place is like, everyone there likes KC. Like Kansas City, like the whole pub is Kansas City mostly. So I'm just like hyping the Eagles every time, and people are like, boo, boo. We got some Eagles fans in here, because they were up most of the game until the very end. So it was just fun to mess around. And most of the people there don't give a shit about football outside the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like in Canada, you'll get some hardcore football fans, but most people are just there for the good entertainment and fun.
Yeah. I had I'm gonna shout her out right now. Yeah. Bex, when you hear this, I'm giving her credit right now, but she had called that of Kansas City being, and I said this on an earlier podcast, so it was the one right after, like, that we posted after the Super Bowl, what recorded before. But she predicted Kansas City being down the whole time, and then at the last bit coming back and winning. In the fourth quarter, they came back and won.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
yeah,
kind of nuts.
There you go. But yeah, it's so cool. People get passionate about their teams, and
that's great.
It's just fun. So I can see totally why it'd be fun to be in another city.
Yeah.
You're just the only Canucks jersey and it's surrounded by, I don't know, yellow and black, just Boston fans all around, and you're just hyping up every time.
It's a cool experience. I'd love to, hopefully, maybe you guys come join for one of those.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Anyways, maybe segue a little bit and kind of back to Hafeez. You kind of finished your like traveling, and then you came back, moved to the island. Mm-hmm. So talk a bit about like where you're at now with your job and kind of the stuff you're doing around there.
Yeah. So, working in pharmacy, there's lots of different areas you can work in, and the stuff I learned in school, super interested in that. You know, how medications work, and when I went to school, pharmacy was kind of an up and coming profession. So, recently pharmacists were given the ability to give vaccinations. I mean, that's pretty commonplace now.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, probably around 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to go into a pharmacy to get your vaccines.
Like your flu vaccine or whatever,
right?
Yeah.
Like think about how much of an impact that's made on healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Across the province or across the country, and even in the States, pharmacists continue to get more and more authority to prescribe for minor things, to do other administrations of clinical services. Like, there's a lot more advancement in the pharmacy profession.
Yeah.
And so when I started in pharmacy school, I was kind of knowing that the profession was going to continue to grow. And so this opportunity that I have now is we work with long-term care patients, and it's a unique environment for a pharmacist to work because we don't have patients coming to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
We service the care homes. So our pharmacy is a closed-door dispensary. We service just about 2,000 patients across the island, and part of our responsibility is to have clinical pharmacists go to the homes and do reviews. And so during those reviews, they'll say, okay, they'll be sitting down with the physician and the nurse and the dietitian, and we'll say, hey, how's the patient's care? So nursing will say, nursing will have 5 minutes and talk about the patient's care. And then the dietitian will talk about their diet. And the physiotherapist will talk about their mobility. And then the pharmacist will talk about their meds.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will take medications that they don't necessarily need. This is a huge issue, not only in long-term care, but just all across the board. And so when I first found this opportunity and I went to a conference and we were doing a review on a patient and they were taking a medication and I didn't know why they were taking it, the pharmacist who I was shadowing at the time said, "Why is the patient taking this medication?" And the nurse said, "I don't know." The family said, "I don't know." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's just stop it."
Yeah.
And the doctor said, "Okay." And then they stopped it. And then the patient didn't take it anymore. And they had no side effects from stopping it. The government saved money to save side effects. Like, that's what pharmacists should be doing.
Yeah, that's so
like,
cool.
That is literally what that's the purpose of a pharmacist, to make sure what you're taking is appropriate for you.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of reasons why people take medications they don't need. It's not necessarily the fault of one person. It's a lot of things that contribute to that.
Okay.
And so being in that setting made me realize that, there's an opportunity here to really make an impact.
Yeah.
And so, the way that we kind of service facilities is we get paid per bed as opposed to per drug. So if someone's taking no meds or if someone's taking 10 meds, we're not incentivized to push more medications.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I feel like it's different in the States. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's like pharmaceutical companies have an agenda and they want to make money off of people. And
there's
push meds.
I don't want to go too much into that because there's a lot of different thoughts behind that.
Yeah.
Medications serve a purpose for certain people. The whole concept and idea and the way a pharmacy operates, dispensing fees are important in terms of sustainability of a pharmacy. But I think in terms of the setting that I work in, where people are taking so many medications, because at that stage of care, there are a lot of medications that are used. It is a cool setting to work in because we are usually taking people off their meds instead of pushing more or continuing medications without necessarily reassessing. But with that being said, if someone is in their 80s and 90s, your goal of care is very different than someone who's in their 40s or 50s.
Yeah, makes sense.
Think about it, right? Like if you're 40 or 50 and you have high blood pressure, you want to lower your blood pressure, right? You want to reduce your risk of a heart attack or a stroke or anything like that. But if you're 90, 100 years old, you just want to be comfortable, right? You're not trying to live another 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there is more deep prescribing for a lot of reasons, not necessarily the fault of the system, but just based on the care and the area of care that they're in. So anyways, so this opportunity for me just made a lot of sense. And
Totally.
we've done projects where there is one class of medications called, proton pump inhibitors, which is used for acid reflux. And I'll just talk about this example. Hopefully don't bore you too much with the details.
No, this is good. Yeah, this is
I think
cool.
we needed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so proton pump inhibitors. Have you ever taken Zantac before? Pepsid?
I don't think. What is the context? What
Pantoloc,
would be a reason to
Tecta.
take it?
Acid reflux.
I don't think I have. Is that be like Pepto-Bismol?
No, not quite.
Okay, but similar similar
Yeah.
territory. Okay. I've had
Have you?
Pepto-Bismol, but
No, just Pepto.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a medication class. It's called proton pump inhibitors. Zantac is not a proton pump inhibitor. It's like a mild version. Pepto-Bismol is a mild version.
it's like a shelf version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, so if I give you the whole rundown. So this medication, what it does is great. We're talking about this while we're sitting here drinking milk and Kahlua and vodka and Coke. It's great. It's perfect.
I'll be knocking on your pharmacy door tomorrow.
Yeah, sponsored by
Hafeez, can you prescribe me?
sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah.
No,
funny.
so what this medication does is, sometimes you drink a ton of alcohol, or you have a bunch of acidic food, or you eat a ton of food and then you just pass out and you get acid reflux and heartburn. Like, this is common.
Yeah.
But what happens is there's this medication that if you take it, it's gone. No reflux.
Oh,
awesome. Right?
Just like that.
Yeah. So, not just like that. I mean, I'm just romanticizing it a little bit.
Okay.
But anyway, so you take this medication, you don't have acid reflux. So, if you take this medication, you can drink, you can eat all the food, you can be unhealthy, and this solves your problem.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people, what happens is when they're younger, or whatever stage of life, they'll take this medication, and they'll keep taking it because, hey, they don't have to worry about acid reflux. They can just take the medication.
Yeah.
A lot of times people will be in hospital for whatever reason, and they're lying flat the whole time.
Yeah.
And if you're lying flat, you have a high risk of acid reflux because your stomach acid isn't really.
Yeah.
So people will be put on that medication just as a protocol.
Yeah.
So what happens is they get admitted to a care home on this medication, right? So let's say you're in your 50s and you're still doing podcasts with Sean and you're drinking all this whatever, and you guys are sponsorship from Pfizer. Paralyzers. You got sponsorship from Pfizer because now you have your pantoprazole sitting here and whatever, and you take this medication for years, and you just take it forever.
Yeah.
If you stop it, what do you think would happen if you stop a medication like that? This medication is reducing acid suppression, reducing acid production. Sorry,
I can't even imagine. I feel like it would be terrible.
If you stopped it, all this acid is going to start producing again.
Yeah.
And you get what's called rebound reflux. So now you have this so now you never want to stop it.
Yeah.
Now you want to take this medication forever. Do you need it?
No.
Well,
not to live, but
debatable.
Your quality of life is.
It's debatable if you need it or not.
Wait, do you need to take this thing frequently, or can it be like a one-time? Like, okay, I feel like it's coming up. Can I take it now?
That's how it should be.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like I won't go too off topic, but I was gonna say it's kind of like Adderall.
Yeah.
I feel like
maybe not exactly.
No? That's like
I just feel like people take it every single day when it probably I don't know. Maybe I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
so
Adderall's a bit of a different example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
maybe more like benzos, how they're supposed to be used. You use it in a fight or flight situation, like going on a flight. You don't use it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit different again because these are more like central nervous system type of drugs. This is more of a gastrointestinal type of drug.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what happens is people take this medication long term. If they try stopping it, then they get all this rebound reflux, and they're like, nope, I'm taking this medication forever.
Yeah.
So then they get admitted to a care home. They've been taking this medication forever. They don't have a certain reason for taking it. Like there's reasons to take this medication forever. If you've had an ulcer, you've had a stomach bleed, you've had certain types of other indications. Like there's reasons to take this medication forever. There is.
Is that, would you say that's like a rare thing within your patients for someone that actually needs it forever?
I wouldn't say it's rare.
Okay.
Because reflux disease can be a reason to take it. Okay. You know, like if someone has really bad acid reflux, then you should take it forever. But what you should do is you should be reassessing it every year.
I see.
Right? Let's say you're taking this medication every day. Every year we should say, hey, Curtis, let's try to take it every other day.
Yeah. And see what happens.
And you know what? You get your reflux back. It's like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Talk again next year.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll see. But what happens is people take it for 30 years in a row, 40 years in a row.
Jeez. This cannot be good. What are the side effects of this stuff?
It's a great question. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and you tell me what you think. If you don't have acid in your stomach, what do you think could happen?
I think like constipation or digestion issues, or like
I don't feel like you're not getting your nutrients fully absorbed. Like,
okay, so that's one.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't have acid production in your stomach,
because it doesn't break down the food.
It's not breaking down the food.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to absorb vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's one. Okay, a couple more.
Oh, it's constipation, not one.
No.
Okay.
Think about
dehydration. I don't know.
Not dehydration. Think about what you said about like not breaking down minerals. So let's try to talk about certain minerals that are important.
Oh, zinc, iron, calcium, magnesium.
Calcium. Okay. So if your body can't absorb calcium,
brittle bones.
What type of population are we working with here?
Older people.
What happens if you have brittle bones?
Break shit easily. Break hips. Break
now you start getting put on other meds for that.
Okay, so there you go. So fractures.
Yeah.
If someone has a hip fracture in Canada, the cost to the healthcare system is huge. So by taking people off this medication, you reduce the risk of fractures from people not absorbing calcium from that medication.
Wow.
There's one. There's 2 more.
That's crazy.
So if your body isn't absorbing minerals, we talked about people taking medications they don't need. So one of them is called B12. B12 is a mineral, vitamin.
Vitamin B12, yeah.
So a lot of people who take this medication take B12 supplements. So that's another additional medication that they didn't necessarily need.
Is there something wrong with taking supplements like that though? Like for example, I'll take a vitamin D supplement, or I don't take iron, I don't take B12, but I was debating taking B12, just because I've heard that it's good for you. But like, is there a downside to taking supplements?
That's a great question. So something like B12, okay. I mean, if you have enough food in your diet that gives you those nutrients, taking the supplement isn't necessarily going to harm you. It's just a waste of a pill. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Oh, it just adds more cost to the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a B12 supplement, for example, a lot of people at a care home will take while they're also taking this reflux reducing medication. And then now you have 2 pills that you didn't need.
Yeah.
Instead of 0.
Yeah. Right.
So do you somehow like follow like a trajectory? Like you'll go back in their prescription history.
Yeah.
And then finally find that, what is it?
Proton pump inhibitor.
Proton pump inhibitor. You find that, and then you see like a trend of different medications that were added on to supplement that original one.
It happens. It's not necessarily part of the approach.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see it as part of the cascade that you'll look at deprescribing down the road.
Yeah.
But anyways, we went through 2. So we talked about fractures.
Yeah.
We talked about other minerals. There's one more really serious side effect. Yeah. So think about acid. Think about the importance of it. Right, it's killing bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't have acid. So what could possibly happen?
People get sick more.
Sick with, if you have a lot of
bacterial infections, more antibiotics.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people get a higher risk of infections. And think about the population we're dealing with.
Elderly people.
Elderly people have a higher risk of infections to begin with.
Yeah.
Because of the weakened immune system as your age gets higher. So those are 3 things. Very serious side effects with long-term use of these medications. So, 2 years into this job, I did this project where all the patients that were taking this medication, they said, "Hey, we're gonna make a spreadsheet. We're gonna send a letter to all the doctors. We're gonna talk to the nurses. We're gonna talk to the families. We're gonna say, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. We think that this patient doesn't necessarily need this medication." And we stopped 55% of people that were taking that medication.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. If you think about the cost just in your like ecosystem that you deliver, the cost on the medical system in British Columbia, how that was reduced just by doing that one simple thing. That's insane.
And the quality of life of people probably went way up.
Getting sick less is
maybe
huge.
Not even way up, but there's probably like certain things in their life that may have felt a bit better. Like for example, they're less susceptible to breaking bones. They're not getting sick 10 times a year. They're getting sick only a few times a year. Yeah. Like there's probably minor changes that happen in people's lives, maybe even major.
Yeah, I mean, cool. these are things that are potential side effects of a medication. It's hard to quantify and say that we reduced fractures by so amount, right? We didn't do a controlled study.
Yeah.
This is just a quality improvement initiative. But further to what you're saying, like that's just one class of medications.
Yeah.
There's
so
many classes of medications.
Like countless. Like
so many. Like
this is happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere. There's other medication classes, and there's opportunity for pharmacists to make an impact. And I think that's
absolutely.
Was
that at all like when you went through pharmacy school? Was that taught to you at all? Like, was there, like, I'm sure that you had to take ethic classes and ethics, but like, was there any of this taught to you, like, how you should be as a pharmacist? And
not specifically deprescribing and long-term care. I think the approach for any person who's on a medication, the first question that I ask now is it necessary?
Yeah.
And that is how we're taught in school, but we don't necessarily look at it that way because the population you work with, the goals vary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally. I think what you said originally is very interesting. Like some people's goals is to have the highest quality of life for the end of their life. Right. Whereas some people's goals would be longevity.
Yeah.
Right? Can I like reduce the amount of medications I take so I can stay alive with my family longer. Right.
Yeah.
It really depends.
There's so many different ways to look at it, but I think that ultimately you want to make sure that you're having the right conversations about what the medication should be doing. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So you mentioned proton pump inhibitors. Is there any other common one that you came across during that kind of study that would be like flagged usually as overprescribed? Like,
there's a lot of medications. I mean,
maybe ones for like temporary injuries that just keep getting used.
Opioids, that's another thing altogether.
Yeah.
We're not that involved in that. But I think, one of the other important things to review is, behavioral medications.
Yeah.
A lot of times people will be transferred into a care home, and it's a difficult setting to be transferred into for a lot of reasons, right? Yeah. For the patient, it's a change in environment. For family, it's a change in lifestyle for them as a caregiver, right? A lot of people are caregivers for their parents or grandparents, and then they end up going to a care home for a variety of reasons, and that transition can be tough. And so there's medications that help ease that transition, but sometimes those medications continue for longer than they need to be, and there's side effects associated with that, and there's age-related decline in addition to side effects. Like, there's a lot of issues that go with that. Let's say you have a fracture and you go to hospital, and while you're in hospital, you're agitated. You've lived at home all your life, and now you're agitated and you're taking the behavioral medications, and those medications cause you to be sedated and drowsy, and they increase your cognitive decline and all these things. And so we reassess those. Does someone need to be, on these medications? One of my favorite stories of deprescribing is there was a patient who was taking like I don't want to say 5, but like 3 antipsychotic medications. So antipsychotic medications, what they do is they, people have aggressive behaviors. People get agitated. People can be challenging to manage. And antipsychotic medications serve a purpose, right? But they can really reduce your function. They make you really drowsy. They can, keep your mood low. Like, not your mood low, but just your awareness. It just kind of dulls everything down.
Yeah, totally.
And so there was this one patient who was taking like 3 different medications for like antipsychotic medications. And so we slowly reduced his dose of these medications, and I would go to this care home every week, and we'd see, how's so-and-so doing? And about 3 months after we did all this reduction in his antipsychotic medications, I saw him in his wheelchair with a balloon, and it wasn't his birthday, and it was a balloon, and it said, "Just married."
No way.
So he was someone who was just super, drowsy and sedated and over medicated, and we managed to reduce his dose enough to the point that he was able to actually, approach one of the other residents and build a relationship with them. And everyone's at that stage of life, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
You only have so long to live, and he expressed his feelings, and they got married, and
crazy, man.
But the way that I tell the story is that's what happened. But is it like, were the antipsychotics holding him back from doing something as psychotic as getting married? I'd like to think it's more beautiful than that.
That's funny.
But this is the impact of medications and reassessment of medications.
Yeah, man. It was definitely underrated for sure. And we all know that like family doctors they have way too many patients. So how are they supposed to look through every patient and be like, yo, this guy's not taking the right, like he's on this thing for so long. But I guess what you do is you tell the doctor, hey, this doesn't make sense anymore because of X reasons, and then they look over it. And
I had no idea that like pharmacists were that involved either. Like, honestly, when I think before I knew what like a pharmacist really was, I just assumed the pharmacist was just the guy checking over all the medication to make sure it's in the right package, and then it was like going out and you weren't giving someone the wrong medication, and that is probably part of your job. But I had no idea that like pharmacists were so involved with the process of,
there's a
giving
lot
medication to people, and like
all I'll say is pharmacists have the capability to do that.
Yeah.
And there's a variety of reasons. Just same with physicians, right? Like there's high workload. There's there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But we have the training to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that should be the foundation of what we're doing every day.
I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have the capability to be able to do this, but you also have to have the willingness to do it or make the change. And
I won't disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think it's, everyone has different motivations. Everyone has different drives. Everyone has different passions. And I think, making an impact in that way, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah.
It's pretty cool because it's not a part of your job description, but the impact of people's lives are so great.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely, like, as my parents get older, I'm going to be passing on what they're taking to you and be like, hey, is this necessary or not? Like,
yeah.
It's so simple to just ask the question, is this necessary? Why are you taking it?
Yeah.
And it starts there, right?
Yeah.
Like you could go straight into the diagnostics and this is the blood pressure and but why are you taking the medication?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just answer the question. Like I'm not saying no medications are good.
Yeah.
Medications have a purpose. They do.
Yeah.
Right? But you just have to have that conversation and the pharmacist needs to kind of be the leader on that.
Yeah. I remember back when like you were living with Omar and you were I remember Omar sent me a text. He's like, hey, like my roommate's a pharmacist. Like if you ever need your flu injection, like let us know.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, what the fuck? I was like, I maybe he didn't even say you were a pharmacist. He's like, hey, my roommate's giving out flu injections. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, no, like I don't want this. Like I didn't know you at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want your roommate giving me my flu injection. What is this?
If there's no context, I totally would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, now that I know you, I would gladly come to you for my flu injection.
Yeah. What if I wasn't a pharmacist? Would you still want me to give you a flu shot?
Probably not.
Yeah. See, like, I mean,
yeah.
It is what it is.
But I also didn't know for the longest time that pharmacists gave flu injections.
See, that's
I thought
what
it was always
saying
like
about the
nurses.
Profession.
Yeah.
About the profession advancing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like I think before the end of the year you'll see pharmacists being able to prescribe for certain things, right?
I think you go to med school for long, or you go to school for long enough.
I'd argue that pharmacists know more about most meds than doctors.
Yeah.
There's differences in the role of each healthcare
exactly.
profession. That's we're a team.
Yeah.
We're all a team.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how do you think that would go? Would it be like when you're feeling a certain type of sick, or you would go to a pharmacist as your prescriber, or do you think it would be like you'd go to the doctor and then he would tell you to go to the pharmacist to talk about that? Or
so there would be a kind of list of things that a pharmacist could prescribe.
Mm-hmm.
List of certain things, and then it's a collaborative environment. Like I think physicians are quite overworked right now with things that could be reviewed with a pharmacist. Like I think when you need a refill of your prescription, that's
you shouldn't have to go to a doctor for that. You should be able to go to the pharmacist, right?
So,
I mean,
so what's going to happen now is if you get a prescription from a doctor and let's say they give you 2 refills of it, right? What used to happen is you would have to go back to your doctor to get a refill. What's going to happen is now you can go to your pharmacy, and if the prescription was written today, the pharmacist can do a review with you and say, you know what, Sean, let's continue this for another 6 months.
mm-hmm.
They have up to 2 years from the date it was written.
Yeah.
So even if the doctor wrote 3 refills and you're done your prescription in 3 months, you can go to a pharmacist and they'll say, great, this is doing, what are your blood pressures, or how's your acid reflux? Are you still drinking Kahlua and vodka and Coke every night? Then maybe stop that. Come back 2 weeks from now, right? Like, but if you wanted to see a doctor for that, you have to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And now you're gonna just drink Kahlua every night because you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, Hafeez, I'll give you the perfect example. I had a sinus infection.
Yeah.
And I had to wait 2 weeks to go see my doctor just to get antibiotics to get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
I felt horrible for a week because it wouldn't go away. That thing wouldn't go away on its own.
Yeah.
And I literally Went to the doctor finally after 2 weeks. He gave me some basic antibiotics. Went and took after 3 days, I felt like a gold mine. I was like, this is the best feeling in my life. Don't worry.
Are you sure it was antibiotics? You felt like a gold mine?
Yeah, I did. I felt so good, man.
How did you ingest it?
Yeah.
Was it in powder form?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I crushed it. It was insane how much better I felt so quickly. Don't worry, I finished my dose though. I wasn't one of those people that takes 2 pills, feels better.
I know one of those guys.
Throws it in the trash.
Antibiotic resistance.
It's kind of the same with like my allergies. Like my allergy medication, I had to sign up on the MyTellus app.
Yep.
Just because everything else was so long.
Yeah.
It still took me over a week to just get my allergy, and this is middle of my allergy season in August or whatever.
What allergy pill?
It was just cetirizine or whatever.
It's over the counter.
I know it is, but what I didn't understand, like when I went to my fucking
also,
specialist,
where was I during this?
I was living at
I was
my
that
house.
just random injection guy
Yeah,
at Omar's place?
yeah. No, I wasn't living
I want nothing to do with that guy.
Yeah. I wasn't living at the place I'm living in now. So I went to my when I was getting my tonsils removed, I went to my specialist, and I was like, okay, every time I take Reactin or Claritin or whatever, I feel like I don't feel like I'm getting enough. Like the allergies are terrible still.
Yeah.
And so she said, okay, like we'll give you something more. And so what I didn't realize is that cetirizine is just
Reactin.
that. But basically she gave me 20 milligrams, which I guess is double the dose of Reactin. Mm-hmm. So the whole time I thought I had this super drug that no one else had, but it was actually just, I could have just taken 2 Reactins. Anyways.
Did you feel like a gold mine?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. After I crushed it up, I did.
I'll tell you one thing though. The good thing, if you could go to a doctor, even for things that are over the counter, you can get it covered by extended medical, which is nice. So pro tip, like when you travel, get your doctor to prescribe your travel vaccines. Yeah. Because then it's covered by extended medical. If you just go into the clinic, you have to pay for it.
If you have extended medical.
Yeah, exactly. Through your job or whatever. If you're a student, you have it. But that was just kind of like a life hack that I did, because my travel vaccines when going to India were very expensive. Like I think the total amount was probably like $250 all said and done.
Yeah.
Plus the malaria pills.
Yeah.
Which was another $100 on top of that. So I just went to my doctor and asked him if he could prescribe them all, and he could, and it was no worries. Just sent that through there.
Yeah. When do you think that will be happening where pharmacists can't do that? Is that already in?
It's supposed to be by March.
Oh, this wow. is actually being implemented. Yep. This isn't just.
Yeah, it's been announced end of March. By the end of March, you should be able to.
Okay. So
that's a good
prescription refills. What else? Is that?
Yeah. So prescription refills is one. Prescribing for certain conditions. I don't know exactly what it is. Keep in mind that I work in a different setting, so these don't apply for me.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But this is for a community pharmacy.
Yeah.
And then the other one is administration of vaccines. So typically flu shots, shingles vaccines, hepatitis, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about hepatitis. I might be wrong on that
I think I got my hepatitis vaccine from a pharmacist already.
Okay. So those ones pharmacists were able to do, still will be able to do. But now, other vaccines will be able to do. So, for example, people take medications for schizophrenia. They need an injection every month, or a B12.
Wait, what? People get injections for that?
Yep.
They're just long ester drugs, right?
Huh?
They're just long ester drugs. So they just
ester.
They release over time.
Nicely done.
Yeah. It's just it doesn't the half-life is way longer.
So you don't have to take a pill every day?
Correct.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's for some people, doesn't work for others. But yeah.
My grandpa had to do that because he had prostate cancer.
Oh, okay.
So they give him estrogen shots every 6 months.
Yeah.
And that the ester on that was the half-life is 6 months, I guess.
Yeah.
Was the estrogen, so were they trying to remove his prostate?
No, essentially testosterone, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Hafeez, but testosterone feeds the cancer. The cancer feeds off that. So they want to basically nuke his testosterone to zero, or as close to zero as you can. That was my
Yeah, like there's interesting like hormonal type of therapy.
Yeah. I mean, he lived like years on his prostate cancer, so whatever they were doing clearly worked. But he definitely had bad side effects from that. Bad.
My uncle just got his removed when he got prostate cancer. I don't know if that's like...
It depends on the
maybe
stage.
Not super ideal. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Depends on the stage.
He got prostate cancer long ago, so that was long past, I think.
Yeah.
Any surgical procedure, but I don't know much about it. I just know that. But yeah, it's really interesting. The field of medicine is so fascinating to me.
Well, it's a team approach.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I've been watching Peaky Blinders. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you heard of it? It's on Netflix. It's so freaking good. It's basically about it's in like England back in like the I want to say early 1900s. Yeah. And I'm just like looking at them. They're all like the whole time they're smoking cigarettes. Like they have obviously no idea that that's wrong. But the whole time I'm like thinking in the show, I'm like, holy shit, like someone falls sick or someone's pregnant in the movie and they give birth and it's like all these things that happened back in that day. I can't imagine getting sick back in that day and I'd just be terrified because you see someone get sick and it's like, oh yeah, like I got a headache or whatever and I got like a stuffy nose. Back then that could mean so many different things. That could be death for you. Nowadays it's like whatever, it's just a cold or whatever, just get your flu shot or get whatever. Here's an antibiotic and your sinus infection is gone. Back then, good luck.
Well, I don't know what life expectancy was like then, but it's just advancements, survival of the fittest. Like we've come so far in society. I mean, this like we're just talking about the field of medicine. Like there's so much else out there.
Yeah.
You know, things worth cheersing another beer to,
which
is what we should be doing.
True.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's cheers, and then I feel like we should end pretty shortly here.
Yeah,
I feel like today's been
good quality point, you know? Like,
exactly.
Sorry about the head on this, bro. I wasn't even looking.
What the hell is that?
Bartender, by the way.
This is not how you pour beer.
Yeah. You made up for it with the paralyzer, though. I gotta admit that was pretty.
It was better than you expected. For me too. Last week was mowed grass. Tonight was like I drink this.
Come on the pod anytime. Drink the cocktails you're gonna make.
Yeah.
You should have had the last week's one. It was really good. The Cosmo. Cosmopolitan. You want to pour yours there, Curdy?
I don't have a cup. So I don't have one, so I'll just take the can.
Wait, where did it go?
It's probably in the kitchen. It's all good, dog.
Oh,
don't worry.
Sorry, Hafeez.
No worries.
Remember at the party that we had when you had the keg and I poured the beers for everybody and I poured that perfect fucking beer for you and you're like, wow.
I think I'm going to get a keg for the March 18th party.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Kegs are the play, man.
I think I'm going to do that for the,
I think if everyone just pitched for a keg at a party.
Yeah.
It's a play.
It makes way more sense. Everyone can just drink from it, whatever. Everyone just pitches $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the keg's what, $150 or something?
Yeah.
I just feel like long as the keg is like a refreshing.
Yeah.
You don't want a keg of like a beer that's like.
Well, I probably wouldn't get a keg like this.
No, exactly.
I would get a keg of like a lager.
The Wolf Brewing Golden Honey Ale.
That. Perfect. That's what you got last time.
Another great sponsorship idea.
Yeah. So Vancouver Island Brewery. There's a reason why we put your cans right here. As you know, we're Island Time. This is Hafeez's idea. But we are not sponsored by Vancouver Island Brewing Company, but we're trying to be. So that's why the can is.
And we love your cans. They look really nice.
They look pretty cool.
All right, cheers,
Curtis
boys.
Loves their cans.
I sure do.
Cheers.
Easy.
I think the next addition to this room is a mini fridge right there. Not a big one, just a small one.
Yeah. Facts.
Keep the stuff in there. We could the ice wouldn't be melting on the floor right now. It'd be in the freezer.
It's true. Right there. It's perfect. If you're lucky, next week we might have a new backdrop behind Hafeez there.
Yeah.
That's the goal. So
we've got a new logo, as you may have noticed if you've seen the first one, and we updated it recently, and we're pretty excited. And then we got this really cool poster looking logo on top of it that is a picture of Vancouver Island. So it's gonna look like this but better.
Heck yeah. Every week we're getting better. So
yeah. This is a good one.
This is a great one.
I'm so happy you came on.
Yeah.
This is like we were looking forward to this.
Oh, totally.
I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, like
this is great.
This is the type of thing where I knew right when we started a podcast who's interesting, who's got shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Right away. It was like Hafeez.
Yeah.
So.
Like there's so many topics we didn't even get to today.
You're coming back on this.
I'll be back on. Yeah.
Yo, Hafeez, the craziest part for me was the fact that it's literally 5 years to the day you did that skydiving.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that is.
It's a sign, man.
That is nuts. And then you came back from there, packed up your shit, and came here pretty much because April was 2 months away. Yep. So
that's exactly it. That's exactly what happened.
That's wild.
5 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we all met, honestly.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. We all moved from somewhere.
Hey, and we said it though. We said it, I think, in the first one. We definitely would not have all met if it wasn't for that one person. That was Omar. So, shout out to him too. It's without him, we wouldn't have
bringing
all
people
met,
together.
So it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, homies. That was episode 4 of the Island Time Pod.
That's my number in hockey, by the way.
Heck yeah. Even better.
Everything's lining up today.
Apparently.
There you go.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Cheers.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers.